Made on Ridgeway Sports Podcast, episode 86. We have gone virtual once again with Riverside, and we are back. Let's go back to cover some college football, as we have finally gotten some more college football. Week 1 is just about finished with the last game from the week happening tonight. Clemson Duke, that we will preview later on in the show. But, Kurt, how's it going?
Going phenomenal. It's a good Labor Day holiday.
Yes, happy Labor Day to everybody celebrating and watching and listening, and we appreciate you guys for checking us out. But without further ado, let's get into it. We got a college football centered show as week 1 has come and gone pretty much, as we will just be going around the college football landscape and checking out some games that, some upsets, some close games, and just previewing another matchup at the end. So football is back. Let's get into it. Kurt, let's start it off. Colorado, TCU. I know we weren't obviously able to watch that. We were in the great state of Ann Arbor watching the Michigan Wolverines play. But what do you take of this matchup? 45-42. Colorado, Coach Prime, Deion Sanders shocks the world already in week 1, defeating a ranked team.
Yeah, he definitely shocked everyone but us. I mean, I don't know about you, but I felt pretty confident with that point spread being plus 20. And you mentioned it on the Shekel Up podcast that, you mentioned literally you felt like there was a chance that they could win this game. And what do you know? They did in an absolute shootout, a 45-42 game where Deion's son absolutely lit it up. I mean, 6 touchdowns?
510 yards. 510 yards passing. I know for sure he had 4. He might have even had more than 4, but I know he sure had 4.
And there was a couple of throws he had that were on the money, but his receivers dropped them, which could have been even more.
Deion even went out and said that Travis Hunter played so well, they missed him on 2 deep balls in the first half. Deion said that the Heisman would have been chilling at Travis Hunter's house. I mean, I know he's joking, but just think about that. Like, halfway through the first game of the year, and this guy's already being absolutely wild. Like, Travis Hunter is somebody that we're going to have to talk about just by himself, the way that he played in week 1.
Mm-hmm.
Jabril Peppers is the biggest comparison I've seen, but, I mean, he played phenomenal. Cornerback, receiver, absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's unfortunate we didn't get to actually watch this really more in depth because we were watching Michigan versus ECU. Yeah, I'm not really surprised he won it because, I mean, when you're a big player coach like Deion, I mean, that just brings out the best out of these young kids. I mean, they're willing to run through a wall through you. You absolutely killed it in the transfer portal. And, I already kind of knew that TCU wasn't really going to be as good as they were last year just with losing Duggan and all that. So I was all over that point spread, and I honestly was a little surprised they won, but wow, hats off to Colorado for pulling this thing off, as they definitely have some other good notable matchups this season as well. USC comes to mind, and they play at Oregon later this year. But next week is versus Nebraska, and I wouldn't sleep on that game if I was Colorado.
Yeah, that's a decent game, and I was just getting ready to say Colorado's going to be good, but I think once they get up against that higher level competition, I think stuff like their defensive line and stuff where Prime really wasn't able to address right away year 1, I think that's kind of where that's going to show, because that interior and that defensive line in Colorado is not very good at all, especially for everything else around it. It's definitely a gaping hole in the defense for them, at least so far in week 1.
Yeah, small sample size, but can't really ask much more out of Colorado, considering they only won 1 game last year.
Yeah, from 1 win to beating a ranked team in week 1.
But that was definitely probably game of the week for sure.
Oh, yeah, if you look at it, I would have to say that was game of the week for sure. There was a couple overtime games, I do believe. But as far as like notable games watching for sure. Colorado and
Yeah, because
TCU
this
definitely
was the
come to
big
mind.
noon kickoff game.
Yes. Yep.
But no, that was fireworks. Sucks we didn't see it, but I'm sure there'll be in some other dogfights this year. I don't doubt that.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I mean, just looking at, we can't really even sleep on the running backs. This Dylan Edwards running back, he only had 6 for 24 and a touchdown on the ground, but he had 5 receptions, 135 yards, and 3 touchdowns with a 75-yard long reception.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was a screenplay if I remember it right.
4 receivers for
4 100-yard
Colorado.
receivers.
4 100-yard receivers. If that doesn't tell you, I mean, 38 for 47, 510, 4 touchdowns. And looking at TCU, I think this is what we all expected. Morris was Duggan's backup, who lost the job to Duggan last year. Morris gets his job back, and he looks about as average as when he left it for Max Duggan last year. I mean, 24 of 42, 279, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. They are able to run all over him. 14 for 164, and I think that showed a lot. TCU getting 164 yards on the ground, like we said, it is week 1, but that is a lot of yards to give up. And I think that'll be something that Deion's going to have to try to adjust and adapt to quickly if it is a weakness for him. We'll see how he's able to do that.
Yeah, definitely. I think everyone's eyes are going to be on Colorado moving forward.
For sure, they're definitely going to be in the public eye media for sure now. I kind of called it, like Kurt said after the Setroit podcast. I would watch the headlines with Colorado in prime. Like I said, I thought for sure they would cover. I didn't know if they'd win, but they even do that too. So now that's even worse for them going into the rest of the season. They're going to be that much more of a microscope on them than they already had. Travis Hunter. Did he had an interception too? Oh yeah, he did have that diving pick. I was looking at, just to finish this off, Travis Hunter had 11 for 119 through the air, an interception, and it looks like a couple tackles. Man, he just 3 tackles.
We're talking about he played defensive back and wide receiver this game.
Yeah, Travis Hunter played both sides of the ball.
But
He played about 80 snaps in this game. He played both ways. He recorded 3 tackles, an interception on defense. All those 119 yards reception, 119 receiving yards, and 11 receptions.
Are we talking about cornerback or safety?
He played cornerback and receiver.
Wow.
He got a diving interception at corner on the goal line that saved a TCU touchdown too.
This man must be in tip-top shape. Holy crap!
And that's what I mean.
Go both ways, man. Skill position like that.
Yeah, you're right.
Running and covering, holy.
And that's kind of what one of our biggest takeaways, just me talking with my coworkers today at work and everything, is can he keep this up though? Playing 80 snaps both ways, that's great and everything. That's dandy, but can he do that and stay healthy, or is he conditioned to do that all year long?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. It was hot here, so it had to be hot in Texas. That game,
sure.
Holy. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. I probably would say they'll probably monitor and manage the snaps more on defense than offense. Or maybe they'll go more defense. I don't know.
I think it's really just going to be whatever he plays better at, because it's probably the ultimate goal is to get to the NFL. So it's got to be whatever he plays. Whatever he excels better, whatever he's more comfortable with. But that will do it. I just wanted to highlight Travis Hunter, as we couldn't let that go unnoticed, him doing all that in week 1. But let's jump over to a game that Kurt and I watched together after the madness in Michigan. And this was a 30-28 absolute barn burner. Illinois, Toledo from Illinois. Kurt, what a game. What a game.
Takeaways from this game. Man, Toledo blew it. Absolutely blew it.
I mean, that defensive coordinator, you got to feel for him, man. I mean, he got some pressure there. QB's hit right as he throws, but it's just just in the nick of time, gets the ball out, and then that's what's wild. He throws it with the guy draped on him. It's a perfect pass, and then there's a DB draped all over this receiver, and it's just a perfect over-the-shoulder sideline catch. Just an absolute super mega dot. And all we could do was stand there with our jaws dropped and realize the inevitable as Toledo ultimately suffers the field goal defeat. They do cover for Kurt as he took them with the points for our daily bet, so that worked out. But, man, Toledo had a real golden opportunity to get a big win on the road week 1, and they really squandered it.
Yeah, I'll say this much as far as this game goes. When we were watching it, Toledo wasn't well in control of this game, especially after they got that interception. And the next play, Finn throws a pick 6, and then the momentum just swings to Illinois. You get just the crowd erupted, the energy. But Toledo was able to fight back, eventually catching the lead, 28-27, if I'm not mistaken, with about a minute and a half left. And then unfortunately, the defense just, like you said, that 4th and 10. And chip shot field goal, time expires, and, well, actually, no. They did a lateral play. Obviously, that didn't work. And Toledo still without a win against the Big Ten in, I want to say, 14, 13 years. So, big tough.
Oh. They had it in the bag. They lost it. But let's go over some positives and let's go over some Toledo stats as they ultimately did look good as a team. I mean, they gave up 30 points total, but I thought that, all things considered, I thought Toledo looked pretty decently well. What did you think, Corey, just an overall performance for Toledo?
I thought their offense played good. I feel like they were able to run the ball pretty well, to be honest with you. Defensively, I mean, they hung in there, but I still just can't get over what happened on that 4th and 10 play. I mean, that was just an absolute prayer.
Yeah, as I look over the stats here, Finn with 20 for 36, 230 through the air, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He also has 20 rushes for 75 yards and a touchdown. So over 300 yards of offense just from Finn alone. Jaquith Stewart, the running back, puts in 12 for 82. So that's also really good. The leading receiver had 6 for 80. So I think as a whole, Toledo played well. It looks like they fumbled the ball twice. Toledo had 2 fumbles in that game, so that's something definitely keep an eye on. And then defensively, like you said, they played all right given the circumstances. Looks like they only were able to record 2 sacks this entire game and 4 tackles for loss. And then just quickly, when you compare that to Illinois, they actually only had 1 sack, but then 5 tackles for loss. So we'll go over to Illinois and Luke Altmaier, who 18 for 26, 211, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. He also led the way, 9 rushes for 69 yards for him. So he contributed for almost, 280 yards of offense for his team. Yeah. And Finn had over 300. So just what a quarterback performance in this game. Right. Running back for Illinois wasn't as successful. He was 12 for 58. And then another one was 11 for 30. And that was the lone rushing touchdown that they got with McCray. Receiving their top receiver, Pat Bryant, 6 for 64. And, Illinois, 5 tackles for loss. Like I said, only the 1 sack. They get the nail-biting escape win at home. And I think if you're an Illinois fan, you got to be quaking after that one.
No, the head coach was quaking. His quarterback saved his bacon.
Talk about that head coach, too, because we were both making fun of him. That boy was nervous.
Oh, my God.
What's his name?
He was a wreck.
Boheim or something like that. That boy was a nervous wreck.
When Toledo got that lead,
Mac school.
Man. When Toledo got that lead with a minute and a half,
they panned over to him.
Body language just said,
when they panned to him at like a minute and 30, he was just one word, and it was quaking.
He looked like they just lost the game.
Right.
Like that was about to get fired. No, but honestly, this was in all honesty, this was a heck of a game. And I knew it would be close. That's why I felt good with taking Toledo with the points.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, for what is usually, like the media says, and like fans like yourself, Kurt, like to point out a lot about the college football not being very good in the first coming weeks. I think we had almost a good game in every time slot this first week. So I think they did a pretty good job in week one of giving us some decent matchups at least. And then they also spread it out. They gave us games on Sunday, Friday. I thought that was really nice as well.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. Do they still run college games on Sundays and Mondays during NFL? Or is
No,
that just because they only have that ability to do it this week?
yeah. Pretty sure it's just because of disability. Because I don't really remember seeing them play. I know the national championships played on a Monday night, but other than that, I believe they just do that just because, like, probably just like a get everybody ready for Sunday type thing, and then might as well have a Monday game. Why not, right?
Right.
It's Memorial Day, everybody's off. Might as well give them something to watch or something like that, right? Right. It also probably has to do with that, being Labor Day, giving people some more football and stuff to watch like that. So stuff like that probably goes into it, but I do like how they did that and spread everything around.
I mean, yeah, it gives you what, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Holy cow!
Couple of days off, and then usually MAC games are on Thursday, so they should be coming back around Thursday. I don't know. Maybe not this week. I don't know if they'll let NFL kind of take center stage with week one or the first game. I don't know if they'll do MAC yet, but I know a lot of MAC games are played on Thursday.
Yeah, I think you're right. I do remember them being played on Thursdays.
All right, we're gonna close out these little mid-round, mid-evening games, mid-evening games with a little bit of Michigan ECU talk, as well as what we thought about the Ohio State and Indiana game that took place on Saturday. So we're gonna start with the good guys because we can't start with the bad guys. Obviously, that's just not a way to start, right, Kurt? Can't start with the bad guys. Gotta start with the good guys. So with that, we will start with the Michigan Wolverines. And this game, obviously, for the number 2 team in the country, was not very hard. Michigan gets the easy, handed 30-3 win. That curses last-second field goal that none of us liked after a timeout.
Pity.
Hashtag just take your L. Just take your L. But 30-3 is your final score here. J.J. McCarthy with an unbelievable stat line, 26-30, 280 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. Of those 4 incompletions, I believe 2 of them were drops. So just an absolutely incredible day for J.J. McCarthy as the junior quarterback comes out and really shows the strides that he took in the offseason to just become better.
Most definitely. Some of my takeaways from this game. Goods to me, obviously, JJ played pretty well. Being able to navigate the pocket, move when needed to, extend plays, throw on the run. Hardly any incompletions. I thought the offensive line did pretty well in pass protecting. Honestly, there was multiple times where that pocket was pretty much just clean. A couple of bad takeaways. I wasn't really too happy with the run game Saturday, to be honest with you, and I felt like that had a lot to do with ECU's game plan, which was stacking the box. Thought they played really well against that, but still, it still wasn't a good sign. Just a lot of times Edwards and Corn would get the ball, and there was just nowhere to go, man. Bodies were still in the way. There was somebody causing interior pressure. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on. And another thing that caught my attention, defensively speaking, I don't really remember us really getting any sacks or pressures, really. But
yeah,
we cleaned them up, though. I mean, so I'm not really. Right. I mean, I'm not really nervous about it, but definitely just things to keep our eye on. Kind of like how last year, a couple of games, we didn't really get any pressure, but it'll come.
In this game, I looked. Michigan did not record a sack, 0 sacks in this game, so that is a little alarming. I will give you that. As I kind of get more into Michigan and some of these subscription-based services that you can buy, I really got a more in-depth look. And just with that, I think I have a little bit different takeaways. I think with the running game, I think a big factor that I didn't even really look at. I mean, Moore being out was massive with the play calling, but I mean, he is also the run game coordinator. So I think that with him being the O-line and the run game coordinator, I just think that he is the kind of the glue that makes all that mess and perform like it does. And I think that with him being out and Harbaugh being out, I think that that's why the offensive line, because schematically, even some of the players were saying that they were just off. The O line was just off as a group and as a unit. Um, I think that my takeaways would be, regardless of the opponent, I think some of those throws JJ does not make last year. I think just his accuracy and just ball placement looked really well, and that's really doesn't matter the opponent. The fact that he can put the ball where he wants it and it's going where he wants it is good. I thought that he had 4 incompletions, 2 drops. Can't really ask for much more from him on the ground, like we said. Obviously, some things to tighten up, but we knew coming out we weren't going to be perfect, and I think it's good that we're able to get these ironed out before any big games played. So, with that, I think that defensively, Roman Wilson has to be talked about.
I was about to say, who would have guessed Roman Wilson 3 touchdowns?
Roman Wilson puts on the number 1 jersey that used to be like iconic at Michigan, and he really brings that back. 6 for 78 and 3 touchdowns. That's impressive regardless of the opponent. He had some really crispy routes. JJ just put the ball where they needed to be, and some good catches on his part as well. And I think Roman Wilson is primed for that Ronnie Bell type of takeoff season. So really excited to see what he'll do in the passing game. And defensively, I mean, they record 4 tackles for loss, no sacks. I thought Ernest Hausman played well. He led the team in tackles with 6. Keon Sabb made 5 tackles. Barrett was flying around, I thought. He's somebody that I thought, especially watching him in person, I was like, oh, he's flying around out there. So I liked what I saw out of him. And this team also was not 100% healthy. They were missing some guys. So there's also that to take into consideration as well. They only gave up 3 points.
What about that interception that should have counted? I watched the highlights again. I was like, how do they not count his feet in?
I
thought they were trying to make that touchdown call we got?
I thought, but even the public is saying that was just a bad view on the board. People are saying that was fine, and it was a bad view
the touchdown
on the field.
Past the line of scrimmage.
Yes, yep.
It looked pretty close when we were there.
So I thought that that was my knee-jerk reaction was just, oh, that's the makeup call, whatever. Like, it's a makeup call. It happens. They probably shouldn't happen, but they happen. So deal with it and move on. But now I don't know. But that was definitely a touchdown on our part. So he also had one stripped away. But just an absolutely great game. JJ did what he needed to. Obviously, I'm not going to hype it up much. It's Eastern Carolina, but no negatives. I'll say that. No negatives and no injuries.
Yeah, that's the big thing. No injuries.
And also the other thing I forgot to add is the success Michigan had out of that jumbo formation when they ran play action showed me all I needed to know about Eastern Carolina's defense. They were stacking the box and playing the run so heavy, you can just tell they spent their entire offseason, or at least their entire training camp, prep week, whatever, on running stopping the run. You could just tell that instantly, and it was even more there when Michigan or JJ would pull the ball out and just be able to fire at will. So that's another reason for that, and I think they got some things to work on, but 30-3, I like it. Let's go to Ohio State, Indiana. Are you good with that, Kurt, or do you have anything else?
Yeah, I thought Minter filled in pretty well. Admirably. Defense played solid. It's a good week 1 performance. I like it.
100%. I love the little gesture they did with to Harbaugh holding up the forwards, and then JJ coming in rocking the free Harbaugh shirt. That was fire. So she just loves seeing stuff like that for your coach that you feel has been wrongly affected by
Fun.
NCAA BS, and so you stand by his side, and I like to see it. 100%. So, all right, I think with that we can move to let's move to Ohio State, Indiana, shall we? As I don't know, what do you think, Kurt? What do you think about this one? 23-3 final.
Yeah. Ohio State has a lot of things to offensively get up to speed on. First off, how Marvin Harrison Jr. only had 2 receptions for 14 yards is a big issue.
5 targets.
5 targets?
5 targets. That was one of the first questions I asked when I looked at Ohio State stats. I went up to my Ohio State friends and I was like, yo, 5 targets? What happened? And they're like, play calling. So keep going.
I would agree. I mean, even if it's just a screenplay, anything to get your best player the ball and let him do his thing, but 5 targets, I didn't know it was that low. That's crazy. But McCord, I'm not going to really – I'm just going to keep it real. He didn't really play that bad. He didn't really play that good. He threw a pick. If they probably play a team that actually had a quarterback, they're probably a little more under fire in this game. But Indiana's quarterback play was just abysmal. I mean, a few completions. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Kind of the same thing we could say about Notre Dame from a season ago. They were, a quarterback away. And, I mean, I think this is definitely – it has to at least be alarming if you're an Ohio State fan that for the second year in a row – I mean, I know it's just Indiana and, they made the case, and I'll make the case for them, that a Big Ten opener against a Big Ten versus Big Ten team, it isn't going to be easy no matter who it is. It's just
especially on the road.
Made for the conference, especially on the road. But I think, that's worth mentioning that for the second year in a row, a team has been subpar or average quarterback play away from probably beating them. I mean, 10-3, you go into the locker room. The final is 23-3, and like you said, what did that quarterback? Well, I don't even remember that quarterback, but I know it was something abysmal.
They had 2
for 5 or something.
Play.
2 for 5 for one of them. I thought I saw, but as I can look at it right here, 8 for 15 was their best quarterback play for 58 yards. 8 for 15 for 58 yards was their best quarterback play.
I mean, exactly. So it's like if you're as a team and an offense going up against the other side of the ball, the other opposing quarterback, you don't have to. You just got to manage the game and not screw it up. That's all McCord really had to do was just, he only threw 1 pick. But still, I don't know. I mean, they got the win on the road, but I'm not going to put a whole lot of stock into it. We'll see. That Notre Dame game, Ohio State's going to be huge, though, here in a few weeks.
Oh, yeah, I'm really excited to see that for both teams because I think Notre Dame could be trending in the right direction, and depending on how Ohio State looks, that could be really interesting. But I'll pose the question to you, with the defense the way that they looked, I mean, I know Indiana's quarterback play obviously isn't the best, but even looking at the running backs, they've had some solid running backs in the past, and Turner was 7 for 29, and Jalen Lucas was 11 for 24. Do you think this is more of a really, really, really abysmal Indiana offense, or do you think this could possibly be Ohio State kind of turning it around on defense a little bit?
I'd probably just go somewhere in the middle. I mean, Jim Knowles, this is his second year there, if I'm not mistaken. So it does say something, though, to hold an opposing Big Ten team to 3 points on the road. So you got to give them credit for that, unfortunately. I'm trying to think of who's supposed to be their best defensive player.
That's interesting. I've heard a lot about this JT Tumalau, but I would say Tommy Eichenberg at linebacker, their most experienced. He's probably their best there. And then I would say, so if I had to guess from the inside looking out, it looks like it's going to be around Tumalu or Eichenberg.
Eichenberg, yeah. Yeah, they definitely. I mean, shoot, man. Anytime you hold anyone to 3 points, you play a great defensive game. But also got to look at. I mean, any of his quarterback play just nah. I can't
100%.
believe it's
That's all
just.
you can do. That's all you can do. Just bleh. Nothing really else to say there. Ohio State gets the job done. McCourt's stats, 20 of 33, 239, no touchdowns through the air. Obviously, we talked about how alarming it is for Marvin Harrison to only have that low. And I said it to all their faces. I would look at my accounts when I read that stat this morning because I was mostly focused on Florida State, LSU, especially because I ended up winning $107 on the day yesterday. So I made up for some losses on Saturday with some of the games. But so I was more focused on that LSU Florida State game. So this morning, I really looked into Ohio State some more. If we only got to deal with 5 targets to Marvin Harrison, they are in serious trouble. That's all I'm going to say right now. They are in serious trouble. If all we got to do is try to defend 5 passes to the best receiver in the country, oh man.
Yeah, we'll get there when we get there.
Right, 100%. Cade Stover looks like he ended up having a decent day. Oh, 5 for 98. Damn, that's actually pretty good. 5
You
for
know what?
98.
Something just
What's that?
popped in my head about that Michigan game we totally forgot to even mention. The most random thought popped in my head. I don't know what it was. When you said Stover, I thought of our kicking situation and the kicker Saturday.
Ooh, yeah, that's interesting. As Ohio State had kicker problems while we had a reliable Moody. It seems like, from what I heard, at least from week 1, Ohio State fans believe they have a reliable kicker, and now it's Michigan that obviously looks like they're going to have some kicking issues. You know, we had a missed extra point and a missed field goal. Obviously, just week 1, got to get the bugs out. You know, new guys, new kickers, but you can't have that for long, and hopefully they can get that figured out because a kicker can really, really make or break some tight ass games. So, uh,
Well,
that's definitely a point we'll have to keep on, as Ohio State might have finally figured out their kicking situation, and Michigan finally loses out on Money Moody, who was there and reliable for all those years.
yeah, that he literally won us that Illinois game.
Absolutely. So that's
Anyways, back
huge.
to the
Um,
what you were talking about before.
yeah, I think Ohio State. Let's see, they come away with 1 sack, 6 total tackles for loss. Yeah, I mean, I'm not, I'm not impressed. I'm not happy with. I'm not like, oh, they're gonna suck. I'm not, oh, they're gonna be great. I think they still have a lot to prove, and obviously it's just week 1, so we're just getting started. But I'm glad we're just getting started, man. I'm ready. Been waiting all off season, and man, just what an electric game day. But what we do have to talk about is the atmosphere in Ann Arbor. I mean, I get it was 84 degrees, but same. Kurt gave it. I'll give it 2 thumbs down, fingers in mouth, all of it. Bad, 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 bad. I get it was hot, but you could almost hear a pin drop when JJ was throwing the ball, and we can't have that. We can't have that because, I mean, we're not a loud stadium. We just haven't been, especially with the older folks that's always been there. But man, yesterday was top tier, the worst that I've ever experienced.
I mean, Saturday.
109,000, yeah, on Saturday, 109,000 strong, and man, it sounded like there was maybe 30,000.
Sounded like 109,000 crickets.
Right.
Yeah, I tell you, that was probably honestly, I'm not even over exaggerating when I say this. That was probably the worst game time atmosphere I've ever been in any of the football games I've ever been to.
Yep.
I'm
I
with
think
you. Like, yeah, it was warm. 85. Is it what we want in September? No, but
I'll think of being a little
people
hot
cheer a
over
little
torrential
bit.
downpour or being freezing cold. I can deal with a little sweat on my body, but what I can't deal with is a monsoon, or what I can't deal with is 4 feet of snow on the ground. So, if I got to be a little bit hot, like it was a little bit hot. I'll give him that. It was a little bit hot. It was a little bit hot. I definitely could feel it, especially being there with the sun beating down. It was a little bit hot. But drink a little bit of water, scream your head off, go inside, relax the rest of the day. Come on. But
yeah, it was
that
honest.
atmosphere was unacceptable.
I was
Unacceptable. Yep, that's what I would say. For a season opening game, unacceptable. It's like until the first half, we were even saying, like, is everybody here? Do they remember there was a game? Do they remember the season started?
No, it was, yeah, that was by far the worst Michigan attendance, game atmosphere, liveliness I've easily. I thought it was going to be a little more lively. I mean, usually it's just wild to me that we have the biggest stadium, yet it doesn't seem like it because everybody is just sitting down, just sleeping.
Yeah.
Everyone's sitting down sleeping.
We should have such an advantage when it comes to that, and we just have absolutely none. So, just a little tidbit of information to add on, but to close out the games that we've already watched, we have to talk about the number 8 Florida State Seminoles taking on the number 5 LSU Tigers.
Not for long.
From neutral site in Orlando, Florida. Last season, LSU Florida State was neutral site from New Orleans. And this year it's neutral site from Orlando. So, talk about neutral site for these games. But, nonetheless, let's talk about it, man. What a matchup. Kurt, you said you watched the first half. I'll let you start it off, and then I'll take it over because I watched every second of this game, and it lived up to the hype. The score kind of indicates something else, but to me, this game lived up to the hype.
Yeah, this game, when I was watching the first half, I felt like it was a really back and forth battle between the quarterbacks, dual threats, passing the ball down the field, dots everywhere. And I was like, oh man, this should make for a pretty good second half. And then I wake up this morning, I'm like, what happened to Brian Kelly?
Brian Kelly. Oh.
What happened to BK?
Oh, Brian.
What happened to BK?
There's this picture, and it's funny because I called it. I saw this picture, and it's literally Brian Kelly. We're going to take it, or we're going to beat the hell out of Florida State. And ends up with the crying Jordan emoji. And I'm just thinking, I didn't even think about the crying Jordan, but I was like, this picture will get mean for some reason. I already know. This picture will get mean for some reason. And next thing you know, Kelly's flapping his gums already. And Florida State kept quiet. Norvell, I like him as a coach. He's been a stand-up coach. Just, you can tell he had Florida State ready. Jaden Daniels versus Travis for Florida State. I thought Daniels all the way. And Travis just, like I said, calm, cool, collected, and to me, easily won this quarterback duel as two top teams faced off. And yeah, what a game, Kurt. What a game.
So you took the over on the points. Who did you like winning this game beforehand?
So I had a parlay. It was the Jackson State versus Florida A&M game. Jackson State's where Deion came from, so I've been kind of following that still. HBCU. But this Florida A&M team was really good. They were like the SWAC winners, right? Deion comes in, beats the hell out of them last year real bad, so they come back this year. So I take them with the points. I take Florida State with a couple points because I thought this was going to be a razor-thin field goal wins it type game like last year. And so I go with Florida State with the points and the over, which was daily bet for yesterday. And that with the Florida A&M game, and I believe I had a couple other games, I ended up winning like $107. So made up for my loss on Saturday. And
so you took Florida State with the points because they were the underdogs, yeah?
Yes.
Wow. See, that's what I mean, man. Some of these games just you could never have guessed this result.
Right.
Like I
Especially how the
probably
first
would have
half
guessed
went.
maybe 31-24, but
Right.
45-24. I mean, you're talking about getting outscored 33-7 the second half.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I was kind of worried about the over, especially for our daily bet. I was kind of quaking off it in the first half. They were kind of not up to the level that I wanted them to be at, especially to hit that total. But second half comes around, and then they just start. I believe it ended up being like a Jaden Daniels pick that kind of started off for Florida State, and then the momentum swinged, and Travis just played really, really well. And I think we'll get into some stats now for it. Let's look at the winner, the Florida State Seminoles. Jordan Travis, stats of the night, 23 of 31, 342 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception.
Wow.
They also
Deion
had a
Coleman.
trick play go for 17 yards, but that was the next name that was going to come out of my mouth as Curtin O'Keon Coleman from the transfer from Michigan State. And I would just say this right now. Thank you, God, for Keon Coleman not being used right at Michigan State, because that man would have been a problem no matter who was throwing him the ball. All they had to do was throw it to him, and that's what they didn't do at Michigan State. Thank God, because he goes out from Florida State with something to prove, and man, did he prove it. That LSU defense had nothing for him. 9 receptions, 122, 3 touchdowns,
Wow.
used his body well, really, really good routes, just an all-around great receiver, and what the fuck? I think the wheel fell off this thing. Okay, we are back. Keon Coleman, Kurt. I mean, can we thank MSU enough for giving this guy up?
We can thank him enough by going up there and spanking him, but
just giving him another reason to realize they needed him.
Yeah, I mean, untapped potential. Same with Jaden Reed. I feel like I don't know, man.
Yeah, Jaden Reed really wasn't used good enough either. I'll say
nine
that.
receptions. Yeah, nine receptions for 100+ yards, 3 touchdowns.
And man. Then Wilson too. Wilson had some serious drop problems in this game. Could not hold on to the ball in the first half. Really ended up getting it together and had himself a heck of a game. Ends up with 7 for 104, but he had at least 2 dropped, at least 2. Big ones, wide open. I believe they were on third down. He was really costing them to start this game, and turned it around and got it together and ended up having himself a really good game alongside with Keon Coleman.
So then what happened the second half here with LSU? Did they just not get any third down conversions?
Yeah, honestly, we'll switch over to LSU right now. Jaden Daniels, 22 of 37, 347, a touchdown and a pick. He leads the team in rushing with 64 yards, so that's kind of alarming. They struggled so badly on the ground. But really in the second half, that's what it was. It was Florida State's defense really just coming together, playing really well, playing together, and really just shutting things down when they needed to. Some big stops on LSU. And we were, I don't know, we're watching it. It's just like Jaden Daniels kind of just, I don't know, the whole team kind of fell apart. And Brian Kelly called it a failure on both ends, coaching and player-wise. And I really just think that's what you kind of have to call it. It's a really close game going into halftime. The score being, 14-17? 17-14 LSU at half.
You had the lead.
And, yes. And so I think that's really all you can call it, is a second half failure from Brian Kelly and LSU. Jaden Daniels deserves some of the blame. I mean, he's not to be held completely responsible. He didn't play the worst, but Brian Kelly once again,
second half adjustments,
big moment, gets out coached once again.
I think he's 3-5 in these primetime games, if I'm not mistaken.
You know, that would not surprise me one bit. That record sounds about right to me, at least. So Just absolutely insane. Wow.
You know what? Florida's dropping big. I mean, not Florida. LSU's dropping big time.
Oh yeah, I mean
I
they
know
should
these
they should
polls,
easily
you
go.
take them with a grain of salt, but
Yep. Yeah, they should easily dropped into the probably into the mid-teens. Let's look and
15.
see what they did well. They only they only ran the ball with their running backs a total of 12 times with three different guys. The leading running back got 4 carries both ways. The transfer from Penn State, Kane, had 4 carries, and
Wonder
Josh
if they
Williams
didn't
had
run the
four
ball
carries.
more.
No, yeah, I mean they did get down kind of in a hurry, so that kind of took that away from them. But to begin with, like, why are you not trying to sustain yourself in the second half with some runs or something like that? And instead, you kind of played into Florida State's cards. They get outcoached massively in the second half, and it leads to a pretty decisive Florida State win.
That's an understatement, but yeah.
Looks like LSU's best receiver, Brian Thomas, 7 for 142. The son of Taylor, who was the Taylor for the, but didn't he play for the Dolphins? Zach Taylor. The son
Yeah.
of Zach Taylor plays tight end for LSU. He had 4 for 39.
Oh wow.
So he's there.
Hold
He
on.
looks pretty good. And looks like LSU defensively, they didn't record a sack either. No sacks, 4 tackles for loss. Florida State comes up with 4 sacks and an interception. I guess they both got interception back, but Florida State with 4 sacks is huge.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest difference. Maybe they probably just pressured the heck out of Jaden Daniels there.
Right.
Unrelentless pressure.
For sure. All right. Well, shit. Are you good with these games? Should we just hop to this Duke and Clemson preview?
Yeah.
Clemson's a heavy favorite. And Kurt, you made the daily bet on this game, so I'll let you kind of get us kicked off in that regard. What do you think happened in this game, and what did you bet on for our daily bet today?
Yeah. Looking at the matchup tonight with Duke at home against Clemson, two ACC foes who only play, I want to say, like once every 4 or 5 years. It's kind of, I don't know how that works considering they're both in the ACC, but whatever. Clemson's a top 10 school. Duke, they're more of a basketball school as we know. So for tonight, I took Clemson beating Duke with over 12.5 points.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, they got a new quarterback coming in. Klubnik for Clemson takes over for DJ Uyunglele, who was a very, very highly touted prospect coming out of high school for Clemson and just really didn't pan out for them. He ends up going to Oregon State to play in the Pac-12, so he's over there now. They get a big win over San Jose State
Wow.
in their Week 1 matchup. But Klubnik comes in. He saw mostly the backup role. He had 100 attempts last season for almost 700 yards, 2 touchdowns and 3 picks. And the action he saw, backing up Uyunglele. So he'll take over full-time duties, obviously, for Clemson. And Duke, I mean, they get almost 3,000-yard quarterback Riley Leonard back.
Clemson is 12-4 against the spread in their past 16 road games as double-digit favorites. So that's really good.
So they're 12-4 and covering that? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that is really massive. No doubt, don't doubt Dabo Sweeney. He is a tremendous football coach.
And Duke's last victory against a top 10 team was against Clemson in 1989. They are 0-28 in games since then.
Oh man.
So if some lot of stuff goes down tonight, Duke, all to you.
Right. Clap it up to you. We'll give it up to you
Has been
We'll give
like
it up to you.
34 years.
Right. I mean, this doesn't seem like a bad team that could get it done. A quarterback with almost 3,000 yards, and Leonard returns. He had 20 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He led the team in rushing with 124 carries and 700 yards. The running back had 123 carries, so that's wild. He put in 13 touchdowns on the ground as well. So what a year for Riley Leonard for Duke as he's coming in for his junior season. And looks like all eyes will be on him if Duke wants any chance. For Clemson, obviously, like I said, they had that new quarterback coming in, but they do get returning running back Will Shipley coming in for his junior season. He had a 1,100-yard year last year with 15 touchdowns, averaging 5.6 a carry. Uyunglele had a lot of rushing yards, 142 carries, so that'll be interesting to see how Clemson changes up their offense or if Klubnik will be used in that same rushing regard. So Kurt's taking the points. Do you think this game will be close at all, or do you think Clemson dominates start to finish? How do you think this game goes for tonight?
I like a 35-14 victory for Clemson. I think the first quarter and a half will probably be dicey a little bit, but Clemson, man, they just score. I feel like every time I see their games, they're just scoring. They always have a high amount of points. I don't know if that's just an ACC thing or I don't know, man. I like them to get at least 30 plus though.
100%. Yeah, 35-17 sounds right. They're 12-point favorites. I could see them winning by a couple of touchdowns and getting out of week one with a W. I took
Duke will definitely
Clemson.
have some success though. I don't think it's just gonna be a complete blowout, but
Yes. Yeah, Duke actually seemed like they have a decent team, and they could honestly
they made
at least give
strides.
Clemson a run in this game. But I think Shipley coming back, this quarterback doesn't look too bad, taking over for Uyunglele. And but Riley Leonard, I'm excited to see what he's got for Duke in his junior season. All eyes are on him for the Blue Devils, and excited to watch this game. I'm on Clemson money line for tonight, as well as under 28.5 first half points. So that's what we got for tonight's betting.
Yeah, I think that under first half, I think you got a good chance with that one.
For sure.
Thursday night begins the first game of the NFL season as the Kansas City Chiefs, the previous Super Bowl champions from this past season, will be opening up at home versus the upcoming Detroit Lions, who finished very strong down the second half of the season last year. I think they went 6-2, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously knocking Green Bay out of the playoffs, et cetera, et cetera. But let's preview this a little bit here. Right now, we're talking about the Chiefs' favorite 6.5. That's a tough line, man. I know the Chiefs are going to score, but I think Detroit has a real chance at keeping this game close.
Yes, and I think that Vegas thinks the same way with the line at 6.5. I really think that Detroit has so many question marks. You don't know what you're going to see. I mean, the Chiefs have been good for a couple years now and continue to strive. So
Just a couple.
We know what we're getting out of Mahomes and company with them. But with Detroit, you don't know what you're going to see. You don't know what you're going to see out of Goff. And so I really think that they're kind of scratching their heads like we are and really don't know where to put this line or really where to put their money so far on if Detroit's worth trying to, cover 6.5 or if we kind of think the Chiefs run away with this one as the game goes on. I think it'll be really interesting and it's a good matchup to start the season Thursday night.
Yeah, it definitely was a surprising pick. Seeing them pick Detroit to go up there, but I guess we're all aboard the Dan Campbell Lions train, so I think they have a chance. Their key to success here is going to be just keeping Mahomes on the sideline, running the ball with Montgomery. Let's see what Jahmyr Gibbs has got, game one. Got to pick up some third downs. But as we've seen before, Mahomes doesn't need a lot of time to score. And so we're going to need Hutchinson to step up, bring some pressure. Let's see what Brian Branch has got, back there in the backfield. Some definitely interesting matchups. Also, to note, Chris Jones, I don't know if he's going to be playing Thursday, so that could be a massive little victory there for Detroit if they can just work the trenches, because they have a good offensive line as well, to be honest with you. They could pull this off, but it's just going to be, if Goff has a turnover or a costly mistake, Detroit's going to have to play perfect, because beating the Chiefs at home it's not easy. But, you know, I still like the Chiefs to win this game, but I do think Detroit will hang within that 6.5.
For sure. That's interesting as we kind of look towards Thursday. But yeah, I mean, I think that, like Kurt said, they were 6 or something and 2 down the stretch. They played really well. Played Green Bay in Green Bay. Rodgers last. Rodgers made the Lions a laughing stock for so many years, and for the Lions to kind of finally get that, at least a little bit of sweet taste, last, like the real last laugh. It is. I'm happy for them in that regard. That's the way that Rodgers ended his career there. Obviously, that'll get some flack from Packers fans, but hey, I think you got to give that one to the Lions after all the years you guys just dismantled and manhandled them and things like that. So
I'll also be curious to see how Detroit's going to match up with Kelsey. I wonder if Jack Campbell or Brian Branch is going to be working on him.
Yes, I think that hope maybe like a guy like Branch, they'll try him off right off the jump and see what he's about. But yeah, there's some real interesting matchups, and I think that one really highlights it, is who goes after Kelsey, or how do they try, because that's one of Mahomes' favorite guys.
I don't know what the over-under is for points, but whatever the over is, I would definitely in that way. I think this would be a higher scoring game, because Detroit was one of the higher scoring offenses last year, and the Chiefs, as we know, that's all they do is score. So
100%. Looks like the line is at 54.5 for this game in Kansas City as it sits right now on ESPN. So that'll be something to look at. But yeah, I think that'll do it. I think this could be an interesting game on Thursday, or it could be a complete disaster for Detroit. I'm just excited to see it. Obviously, we had college football back this weekend, and now returns the pros, and we are officially back to football. Just NFL and college back. Couldn't be more excited. Michigan starts it off right, and we'll see if Pittsburgh Steelers can do the same for Kurt on Sunday. Excited for those matchups. There's some good ones as we look to Sunday, but can't wait for Thursday. And as for this one, made on Ridgeway, gone virtual, number 86. I think that'll do it. Kurt, anything else you want to add before we close it out?
Come on, Hutch.
Let's go, Hutch. I hope they keep it close.
I want to see, man. Let's see it.
I want to see an exciting game for sure. So let's see it. Let's go, Lions. Keep it close. Let's have an exciting game, and let's enjoy this NFL and college football season. Thank you guys for listening to all these episodes up until now, and we hope you guys enjoyed this one. Made on Ridgeway Sports Podcast. Find us everywhere. Made on Ridgeway socials, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Daily bets going up. Facebook. A lot of stuff going on. Blitzburg coverage for Kurt. Inside enemy territory for me. For Michigan. Kurt for the Steelers. We got it all going on around here on Made on Ridgeway. So, gonna keep it going. Just getting started on the season. And that'll do it. Made on Ridgeway.
Just getting started.
Podcast. Episode 86. Peace.
Deuces.